financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Good morning and welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is one of Brian's favorites, budget management. And also, as a side note, a different topic, stop putting your kids on the deed. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Ken. They are so far apart in topics, yet they're actually so close together, and we'll discuss that when we get in depth.
Wait. That was a song from the Carpenters.
Okay, so
Jeffrey Lane,
many
good
others
morning.
may not know who the Carpenters are, but I actually do.
Good morning, Ken. It's ironic. The very first concert my parents ever took me to in life was the Carpenters.
Oh,
I
wow.
know.
Kelsey, do you know who the Carpenters are?
It's okay.
Woodworkers
I've
in the
heard
union,
about them.
right?
I know that the Carpenters were at my house a couple weeks ago. I don't know if they're the same Carpenters.
Kelsey Semesco, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, it's like, to me, it's like almost...
Those are
Do you
Finnish
know-
Carpenters.
Wait, do you know who the Beatles are?
Yeah.
So somehow that migrated down to your generation, but the Carpenters didn't, because Karen Carpenter died.
Wait.
You're,
Can you-
you're
15 years
assuming
ago.
she doesn't think there's these little black things
Oh
with
yeah,
6 legs.
Beatles as in the group, the song artists.
See, I thought you meant that Michael Keaton movie, Beetlejuice.
Oh
Yeah,
jeez,
yeah.
Are they different?
a little bit.
We'll talk.
We'll
We'll
have
talk.
to do music on another show. Before we get into everything, I just want to throw out my favorite reminder: the 3-point retirement plan. It applies to all of these issues. Own your home free and clear, have zero debt, some cash in the bank. You need to accomplish those 3 objectives before you decide to retire. If you do that, you'll have adequate funds to retire with. And to me, that's a critical component. So, before we get to budget management, your favorite topic, what's the story with why not put your dear child on your deed to your home?
Oh, it's very problematic.
What disasters
Yes.
can we talk about?
I mean, a million of them. So there's this.
Well,
People-
why does it happen in the first place?
So people put their kids on the deed to their homes because they want to avoid probate, right?
Joint tenants with full rights of survivorship.
Right? And so that really just means survivor takes all, right? If mom
Right.
passes, the house goes to daughter. It avoids probate, but that daughter now doesn't get the step up in basis tax advantage. And so when she goes to sell mom's house, she's
Capital
got to
gains.
pay capital gains tax.
Is it on half or on whole?
So it pretends like you bought the property for the same price that the original owner did, right? So if mom bought the property for 50
So it's just
grand.
the basis carries over.
Yeah. So if mom bought the property for 50 grand and it's now worth 300, when daughter goes to sell the house, she's got to pay 15% taxes on $250,000.
So it doesn't matter when the joint interest gets created. So-
15 or up to 20, because depending
So
on
if
the
Yeah.
at the time that the transfer is made or that the deed is redone to put the child onto the house is now 3 times as much as when mom bought it, the child doesn't get the benefit.
So there's a tax
Correct.
problem.
Correct.
Anything else?
Oh, I got one. This is the
Settle
typical
down.
thing that
Settle
happens.
down. You don't smile about it.
No, it's so ridiculous. People don't think about it.
He's doing the ooh from
I-
what was the show? Cotter.
Cotter.
Yeah.
It's
Do you
horseshit.
know? Does Welcome Back Cotter mean anything to you?
Is that the one when the Fonz jumped over a shark?
No,
No,
that's a completely
no.
different show. But
My
thank you
God, you don't
for
know what-
bashing the 70s
The
again.
Carpenters, Welcome Back Cotter. Oh my God,
Listen,
I'm old.
I love the 70s because I love their furniture, okay?
There.
Mid-century modern.
Wait, do you remember the blow-up furniture? Inflatable chairs?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Inflatable couches?
We've digressed.
Wait, let's ask. So, all right, typical problem, right? Mom puts daughter on and son on the deed, joint tenants with full rights of survivorship. Because mom anticipates giving the children the house when she dies.
What happens?
Mom needs to sell the house because the house has steps and mom can't use the house anymore.
Buy a condo or something.
She wants to buy a condo. Well, that's all well and good because daughter and son have to sign off on the deed.
No problem.
Right, except when mother and son have had a falling out and they
Son
no longer
says no.
speak to each other. I have had this happen numerous times where the child will not sign off on the deed until mom writes child a check.
And mom really has nothing, doesn't have a lot of rights even in court.
Nope, because with joint tenants with full rights to survivorship is not a divisible interest in property under Michigan law.
What about...
Which means, for the people who don't speak divisible interest, that one person can't fraction off and take their part and sell it, or
a judge
buy their
can't
part
order
out.
it sold either.
Right.
All right, so that's a big
You need
problem.
everybody
All
to agree.
And what about this one? Mom puts daughter Sally on the deed, but mom intends that the house goes to Sally, son Jeff, and son David.
Well, that happens.
And Sally, mom dies, and Sally says,
Thanks, Mom.
I love this house. I'm moving in.
Best.
Yep.
And David and whatever the other son says, oh, no, you're not. We're selling it and splitting the money 3 ways.
That doesn't just happen, though, with real estate. That happens with bank accounts. Mom puts daughter on bank accounts so that the daughter can help her pay bills and write checks. And then mom passes, the money belongs to daughter, even though mom intended it to go to all of the siblings.
Oh, another version of that is mom has 3 kids. She puts each child as a joint owner on 3 different bank accounts. But mom uses one checking account to live off of, so that child gets butt kiss. And she says, well, I'm treating everybody equally. No. No, you're not.
I mean, there also is something that we see all the time. It just goes to show that this is a terrible idea. It goes wrong so many times. That mom puts daughter and son on the house. Everything is fine. Mom dies. And then daughter and son start to fight. Right? Siblings hate each other. Now mom's gone and daughter says, well, brother, she always liked you more. I'm not going to sell.
You know,
I'm digging my heels
I
into the
have
sand.
to laugh if you think about it. Why would mom ever think that the siblings would get along when they probably never got along all the time that they were in the house together? Let's take a break and figure out the solution.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
If your daughter passes away before you, do you want her share to go to her kids, or do you want to go to your new son-in-law?
You didn't have to buy me a Ferrari.
Don't worry, baby. There's plenty more where that came from.
The kids. You've worked hard your whole life to create a lasting legacy for your heirs. Let Samasco Law help you make the right decisions to protect the ones you love. Samasco Law, protecting what means most, because that's what we do.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
So I'm getting like this vibe based upon the discussion that the idea of putting the siblings on my deeds and bank accounts is not a good idea.
Well, think about this.
What's the solution?
You put your child on the deed, and now your child moves in. You can't stop them. They own the house.
I could put a little covenant in the deed saying you can't occupy. But what's the solution?
Technically, Brian, he can do whatever he wants.
I'm going to have to steal from Brian here, and the solution is individual to the individual.
But
that was awesome.
But
nicely done, Jeff.
It depends. Like if you're doing the
Like,
checking
is
accounts,
Is
like
a trust the solution?
a trust can be a solution. If you want to do, like a lot of people do joint checking accounts in that example because they're saying, well, it's for convenience. When I need help, somebody can help me. So you can put a child or somebody else as a power of attorney to do the help, but they're not an owner.
A ladybird deed is a simple solution.
And you can do transfer on death provisions on accounts so that they don't have any rights until after you've passed away.
Right.
So the point is, you either need to accomplish this with the trust in your estate plan, which could involve sometimes doing designations on the account the right way, but it's got to be, that's why you're making the individual to the individual. It's got to be in an organized fashion, and you likely need an advisor and help to do it because you can't get the information.
Right.
What are you going to do? Get it off of the internet? Are you going to listen to daughter Sally or son David, who may have their own agenda? You need to do it the right way.
Could listen to Jerry the bartender. We haven't talked about him in a while.
Yeah, Jerry the bartender always has
He's always got an opinion.
But, you know,
yeah, he always has an opinion. But
a simple solution might be,
budget management soon,
a simple
but go ahead
solution
and finish up.
might be a ladybird deed. Because there is no stepped up, you get the stepped up basis when you inherit a property through a ladybird
don't you
deed.
have to be a president in order to have a ladybird?
Oh, that was a good one.
Ladybird
Wait,
Johnson, thank you.
Do you know who Ladybird Johnson
I know
is?
my presidents.
Oh, good.
And my first ladies especially. But so what the Ladybird deed is it's actually called an enhanced life estate deed. And so it just says,
I like the first
look,
name.
It's way cuter, right? It just says, look, mom owns the house 1,000%, but when she passes away, if she still owns it, then it goes to daughter. And so if next week mom
And
wants...
she can change her mind anytime.
Oh yeah, anytime. And so next week if mom wants to sell, she's the only one who has to sign to sell, right? But if mom passes away and she still owns that property, then it goes to daughter, or then it goes to son.
So what about the extra 900% that mom has that doesn't really exist? Where does that part go?
Extra 900%.
Yeah, because she said she owns it 1,000%.
Oh, well,
And
that
you
goes
also
to
don't.
me.
You also don't have the tax problem because you get
Correct.
the step up in
You
base.
always want
That's
people
where the
to
900% goes.
Exactly. You always want people to be collecting things as inheritance after you pass, because that's going to give you the biggest tax advantage. The IRS can't ding you for dying, right? It's something that happens to everyone, but they can ding you for giving a gift. They can ding you for giving it away before you should have.
Now, recognize that the opportunity to give stuff away still does exist, and it can be a one-time hit against your inheritance that you are entitled to give to other people, and you may not have a capital gains, but you have to file a gift tax return, and it's a lot.
But right
more
now the
complicated.
tax exemptions are very high, so it's and if they stay high, then that aspect is easy. But you still have the problem of the step up in basis. You still have the problem of creating all these problems of control. The takeaway is don't do it. Do not do that. You want to have a properly crafted estate plan that takes into account
100%.
those goals in order to accomplish it to avoid the problem. All right, now I want to switch. Budget management. You are always talking about budget management, I walk away, when I hear budget management, I think, tighten my belt.
But it's not belt
Spend
tightening.
less money and you'll be happy. Don't drink Starbucks and everything will come good for you. Don't go buy that $180 pair of jeans when you can go and find yourself a $40 pair of jeans that are saggy and ugly, and everything will be great. Is that what budget management is?
100% not.
Did we just learn that Ken wears $140 jeans?
$180 jeans.
Oh.
No, I like the baggy ones.
I mean, with a rear like that, you got to show it off, man.
That's the
even
nicest
though-
thing
This
you're
is the
going to
reality.
hear.
Even though you do not know who the Carpenters are,
Right.
and I'm questioning your knowledge of the Beatles,
Yeah.
Still a
and
good
you
taste.
don't have Welcome Back Kotter, you have absolutely great taste and you are forgiven.
That
Okay.
is-
Now,
by the way, that is the nicest thing somebody's going to say to you all week.
probably in 2025.
Listen, I'm coming back.
Okay, my bucket list 2025, one compliment. Good. Okay. On to 2026. No. Back to where.
Okay,
What
so-
is budget management?
So it's not belt tightening. We all know belt tightening. Belt tightening is denying spending on something so that you can save up money to achieve a short-term goal. Okay? The furnace is out. I've got to stop spending so that I can get the furnace fixed. My transmission went out of my car. I've got to stop spending all the extraneous
Well,
spending
you
I've
may
got
have to do that.
so I can fix the transmission.
No, I just put the transmission on the credit card.
I don't have credit card availability anymore. That's the issue. So the budget management is the art of getting more satisfaction out of the spending that you can do and eliminating the waste in your budget that you didn't even know what you were spending it on in the first place.
So, let me ask a question. I follow the point. If we're going to do budget management, what is the goal? Why are we doing it?
Because we want to have you learn to live within your means.
I have a different reason. This is a hint.
The 3-point retirement plan.
Yes. He figured that out on his own.
Have the
everybody.
house paid in full, have no debt, and have some money in the bank. If you can get your budget under control and learn to live within your means, that will be a solution that's available to you.
And that's not belt tightening because it's the long-term plan. If you're sitting here watching the show and you're 50 or you're 45, you're not going to tighten that belt to get to and not be able to breathe until you're 65 to accomplish the 3-point retirement plan. But you could do budget management, and that will get you there.
Yes.
So let's take a break. When we come back, you're going to tell us how it works.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
The doctors ask if Dad's affairs are in order. Did Dad ever talk to you about what we should do in a situation like this?
Not a word.
What should we do?
We should have called Samasco.
Don't wait. All it takes is a quick call to Samasco Law or go online and fill out a request. We can get your needs and wishes set in stone so your family doesn't have to play a guessing game when the chips are down. Protect what matters. For power of attorney, call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. So budget management.
Well,
how does it
start
work?
with the basic premise. This is something that I've discovered. It's not. I can't.
Is this something clients engage you to help them with?
Yes.
Because I don't do budget.
Yes, they do.
I practice law. I don't.
Well,
don't do
as
budget
an
management.
offshoot of bankruptcy
Just
and
taking
financial crisis,
just taking a little shot.
I understand, but as an offshoot of financial crisis and bankruptcy, I realized that giving clients the tools to come out on the other side of a bankruptcy and not make the same mistakes again
is doing the right job.
Right.
For sure.
So, budget
It's
management.
the holistic approach.
Yeah, and what I've discovered from the
Probably
clients
the most important
that work with me is that the average client is wasting between 7 and 13% of their gross income. And the more they make, the more they waste. Now, what do I mean by waste? What I mean is that if you spend money and you didn't get a level of satisfaction out of that spending, that you remember why you spent it and what it did for you, then it's wasting the money. You were talking about Starbucks. I don't tell people not to go to Starbucks. I tell people to prioritize their spending and figure out what they get satisfaction out of and what they don't. And we examine the budget, we examine the income, we examine the expenses. Start off with the basic premise. If you have $3,000 coming into your household and your rent, electric, gas, water, car payment, and car insurance all add up to $3,000, how much fun can you have with money?
Zero.
Zero. 100% correct. So now let's say you have an additional $1,000.
But on that $3,000, do I measure satisfaction on those or no?
Those are the necessary expenses to keep a roof over your head.
Okay.
So now you have $4,000 against $3,000 worth of hard expenses that keep your roof over your head. How much money is available to have fun with?
$1,000.
You are correct. Now, within that $1,000, you may spend it going to McDonald's for lunch. You may spend it going on a vacation. You may spend it buying yourself a new suit. You may spend it buying yourself a membership to the gym. Some things that you spend that money on are more valuable to you than others.
does the gym has to go into the fun category? It's not an essential.
So does it keep? I break things down into.
It keeps me healthy, so that
I understand.
so that I preserve my income and I live long enough to support my family.
Necessary expenses, not necessary expenses, and sort of necessary expenses.
So that's a sort of necessary.
It could be. It may have a level of
I think
importance
it's more
to you.
important than the electric bill.
Oh, is it? No, I think living in the dark is probably not as good of an idea.
Hold on though, but
And
if
you
Ken goes to the gym, he can hook his stationary bike up to his electric and he can power his own
I
house.
understand. On the flip
But then
side,
he's not
Ken
going to the
could
gym.
go outside
Good point.
and walk, and that's free, and it still provides you with the exercise.
Chairs are size.
Good point.
That's for him.
Jazzercise.
So we
One for Brian.
examine the
I could
expenses.
even run if I had to.
You could. And we figure out what's important and what's not. And then we try to eliminate those things that don't give us a high enough level of satisfaction.
And it's
Let me
not
give you a
that
question.
hard.
Let me ask you a question. What's a passing grade in school?
A minus.
Okay. What gets you to graduate?
A C.
A C.
C's
That's
get
correct.
degrees, baby.
C's get degrees. In the real world,
A
when you go to
minus.
work, is a C acceptable at work?
No.
No.
Well, then why is it acceptable when you spend money?
Well, that's a good one.
Why is that an acceptable expense? Why shouldn't you be getting more satisfaction out of the
So
spending?
using my answer to the question would mean that on my $1,000 that you're giving me, or whatever my fun money is, I have to have an A minus across the board because that to me is a passing grade.
I realize that ranges. We try to keep people with a B minus or better with their spending. And when you say to me, I'm going into 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee, and you give that a 4 out of 10, that's a failing grade. We try to eliminate the failing
who
grades.
would give that a
and
4?
there's-
The client themselves.
If you're buying a Slurpee,
No,
big
you're
deal.
taking on
we're going to run out of time.
300
And
calories. You got to have that as a 9.
No, you're reaching the point where you examine each item that you spend money on and what gives you more satisfaction. And when you eliminate
it's
the
all
things,
relative.
yes, you decide.
It's individual.
It
to the
is individual
Right.
to the individual.
Well, and there
I
are
want to
lots
get
of
to
easy
I was going to
examples.
get to the coffee story by
You
example,
don't have
but
time
I
for
don't
the
think I have
coffee
time for
story.
that
No
today.
time.
But there are lots of easy
Too bad.
examples. Like, for example, you get Peacock TV, you're paying $14 a month, you don't think it's a lot because you wanted to watch one show, that show ended. You're still paying $14 a month. That's $168 a year that you don't need to spend for that one show.
Well, let me
That's
give
just
it to
one
you.
little example.
That's a good point.
Think about this as we come to the end. If you're wasting between 7 and 13% of your gross income and you make $100,000 a year, you're wasting $7,000 to $13,000 of gross income annually
And you
on
do that
stuff
over
you get
20
no
years.
satisfaction
That's your
from.
retirement.
If you can eliminate it and get your budget under control, then what happens is you live within your means and you do have a retirement and you do have the house paid in full and you do have money in the bank.
That's a wrap. Have a great week. I believe in budget management. I do not believe in belt tightening. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.